Gold FM is #1 here in Sigatoka.
Gold FM is our favorite radio station here in Lautoka.
Gold FM is #1 in Nel.
I love listening to Gold FM in Ba.
We love listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits here in Suva.
Hear about bottled cola, you immediately think of gold. I'm Josephine Sabi and I love hearing Gold FM.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Tonight, Lands Ministry restructures to enhance services. Pio Tambaiwalu to contest elections on the Sadelpa ticket. And PRB flats are likely to be complete by August. Good evening, I'm Jackie Spate and this is FBC News. The Ministry for Lands and Mineral Resources is undergoing restructuring to lift the standard of its services for all Fijians. To ensure a wholesome service for all, the Ministry's 2014 annual corporate plan has included a standard operation procedure and complaints database. Apisalome Doka reports.
Ministry staff are being reminded that it's their work ethic that will lead to improved services for the public.
Looking at the quantity of work that needs to be done, and we look at the quality of work, we look at the time that is spent on doing that particular work, and we look at the cost that is spent on that particular work. We were not actually very productive.
The Permanent Secretary Lands, David Tambose Wanga, says another way of improving efficiency is to get all its filed records saved on computers.
The Ministry is working on it, particularly on the exercise that we term as the harmonization exercise. That is basically improving the records or the database of each lessee.
With a large quantity of work at hand, the Ministry will need to improve its staffing issues to get the reforms done on time.
Because we know we have adequate staff, we have enough. It's just the distribution of staff. Because as I've said, with that workload, the staff are not distributed accordingly. See, for Lands, they have so much work, but not many staff there to carry out the work. There are other divisions. So with this functional review, we are also relocating staff.
The Ministry accepts. With several complaints continuing to be registered against it, changes to internal systems and processes need to be carried out urgently to stop the stern of grievances from ordinary Fijians that continue to pour in on almost a daily basis. Apisalome Doka, FBC News.
Australia's public announcement this week to re-establish full diplomatic ties with Fiji may still be ringing a bit hollow with the Fijian government. Travel sanctions, which Canberra imposed on members of the Fijian government and military since December 2006, still remain. Acting Australian High Commissioner Glenn Miles insists, while every effort is being made to restore bilateral relations, Canberra will continue to assess applications on a case-by-case basis, which has led to a handful of visas being approved recently.
We've implemented travel sanctions on a very flexible basis, and what we have seen is a number of government ministers visit Australia. Now this is in part recognition of the steps Fiji has taken towards elections later this year, and we continue to review our travel sanctions on a regular basis.
The Sadelpa General Secretary will contest the general elections. Pio Tambaiwalu spoke exclusively to Epeli Tokwasa about his application to be party candidate.
It's no surprise that the face of Sadelpa is one of the many applicants the party has received to contest the general election.
Expressing my interest in standing for election. I in fact stood for the silver communal seat in the last election and won. It was my first foray into politics, and I won. And quite convincingly there.
The party has received a lot of applications from highly qualified and experienced people who want to stand under the party banner.
Quite an excellent lineup of candidates in terms of the broad range of voters. And we're trying to entice more women. You know, I've been asked by women, why are there not many women candidates?
Tambaiwalu says applications for party leader are now closed and a committee is studying the list of hopefuls.
Of speculation, and usually they contact the General Secretary for information, but I'm not privy to that selection committee.
Tambaiwalu refuses to comment to delay in choosing a party leader, but says the party is hopeful of selecting all candidates by next month. Epeli Tukuasa, FBC News.
A 35-year-old man who allegedly murdered his aunt has been remanded in custody by the Nandi Magistrates Court today. Talad Muhammad is alleged to have killed Hamida at Nakavu settlement on Monday. It's alleged Muhammad had an argument with the deceased and she stabbed the palm of his hand. He then allegedly took hold of the knife and stabbed the elderly woman repeatedly on her neck, stomach and hands. Muhammad allegedly fled the scene when Hamida's son arrived. He will appear in the Lautoka High Court on February 12th. Fiji has 1,422 cases of dengue fever since November. This is the highest ever on record, and the Health Ministry is worried as the numbers continue to rise. Shireen Lata reports.
Over 1,200 dengue patients are from the Central Division. The West has recorded 165 cases and the North 54.
I think a lot of people seem to forget that dengue can lead to deaths, and that's something that we don't want to happen, which is why we're urging everyone to take, this outbreak seriously.
Evelyn Mani says they are restocking medicine because people with dengue symptoms are showing up at health centers and hospitals daily. The anti-dengue campaign in the Central Division continues.
The Ministry of Health has put in place strategies to address this. We are working effectively. We have been given a allocated budget under which we are working on. We've been raising awareness, trying to get people, trying to mobilize people in terms of, cleaning their compounds, removing stagnant water.
The strain called dengue 3 has in the past been found in Solomon Islands and French Polynesia. While there has been no reports of any deaths, the Health Ministry is advising people to take every precaution. Anyone who sees signs of dengue fever should seek medical attention immediately. Shireen Lata, FBC News.
Work on the Raiwai public rental flats is nearly complete, a year after a stop work notice was issued to the contractor. China Railway First Group resumed work in October after Prime Minister Vorengem Bainimarama intervened and settled a dispute over the cost of the project. Eleanor Tarangaivu reports.
2 years after China Railway First Group started work on these flats, it's finally nearing completion.
The important thing for us is that the construction is continuing, and we would like to see the completion of that soon as possible so that we can commission the complexes for use.
The houses were supposed to be ready by the end of 2012. However, after almost a year of work, it surfaced that the total cost of the project is twice the initial amount. The Prime Minister intervened and China threw in a lifeline.
We're paying 9 million for it, the contractual amount that we had signed to initially, and the extras to that is what the government of China is footing. So that process is currently underway.
Pia Tekundondo says the $9.3 million grant from the Chinese government came at the right time.
We've almost expired on 9 million, so into completing the building now. And the rest of the expenses at the moment is being paid for by the Chinese government.
When completed, these flats, which are intended for low and middle income earners, should house 208 tenants. The works should complete by August. Eleanor Turangaivu, FBC News.
Coming up, Levuka businesses suffer from closure of PAFCO.
Today FM is #1 here in Singatoka.
We love Today FM in Lambasa. It rocks!
My favorite station in Nandi is Today FM.
Listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks in Suba.
Lotoka City love Today's Kid Music.
I love Today FM because they play all my songs.
We love Today FM at Vuniva Lambasa. Yeah, it rocks!
I love Today FM because it rocks.
Today's hit music on Today FM.
Welcome back. This is FBC News. Stakeholders are now looking into measures proposed by the Prime Minister to rescue the fishing industry from demise. Fiji Fish Director Graham Southwick confirms another meeting next week will look into the concerns of local fishing companies. Vosita Kotewasawasa reports.
The fishing industry is now looking at its options after the government stepped in to help.
We're examining, and we're obviously very grateful that they've stepped in to see what they can do. The industry is now studying those measures to see what sort of an impact they could have and whether they are enough to keep the industry going.
Graham Southwick says they will meet with government officials again next week because some of the proposals need clarification.
Well, the proposals are a little unclear, so we need to get right to the bottom of it and see if in fact that they are sufficient to let us get back.
No one is willing to say at this stage what exactly the proposal from the government are. Fisheries Permanent Secretary Inokia Wainingolo says the various line ministries are looking into a few issues before they meet with the fishing industry stakeholders.
Issues that were raised that were approved, and it is tasked to certain line ministries to work on that to fulfill the requirements. There are a few that are already fulfilled now, like for the case of fisheries. We just have to meet next week for the licensing committee.
More consultations are likely in the coming weeks as stakeholders try and find a solution that can save the fishing industry and the jobs of hundreds of people, many of whom have been let go. Wasita Kotewasawasa, FBC News.
Businesses in the Old Capital now have operational difficulties due to the closure of PAFCO. Apisolome Doka reports the effects of the closure is now having a dire effect on almost everyone in Levuka.
The closure of PAFCO is affecting not only factory workers but also businesses in town.
It really gave a shock to everybody, particularly the business people, because what we had expected during that period as income through the business, that didn't happen. I think within that last 6 weeks, there was a drop of 60 to 70% in some of the businesses in Levuka.
Ishra Ali says the chamber know how difficult it is for both businesses and people to cope as they prepare for a new school year.
It's definitely felt by businesses, those who are in stationery business and clothing business. People are just trying to make ends meet, like some of the people that I have spoken to. They did not get into any new uniform and all that sort of thing. They said, we'll have to wait until PEFCO reopens and we start working.
The Levuka Chamber of Commerce says it is time for a backup plan.
Only thing I can suggest is we should immediately start looking at setting up alternative business, such as getting into agriculture business and fishing industry and other business that can keep you accommodating. If the PEFCO shuts down and your income on this side is not there as you expected, then you can switch on to the next business that you have in plan.
According to the Levuka Town Council, rates are still being paid, but it expects payments to slow down as the effects of the factory closure takes hold of the island. Apisolome Doka, FBC News.
The Department of Fisheries will carry out a resource inventory survey of 410 traditional fishing grounds this year. Principal Officer Eastern, Eroni Talemai Kanavea, told a Radio Fiji One talkback show this morning the findings will help Ngoli owners with development plans. The survey will determine the availability of finfish and non-finfish species and make it easy to determine exploitation levels. Permanent Secretary for Fisheries and Forests, Timothy Wainingolo, says the two departments will have used 70% of their joint budget by June, 10% more than the government target for all ministries. And we turn to sports now. Here's Jamie with the latest.
Good evening. After the break, we get the latest from Wellington as Ben Ryan and his boys prepare for battle, and the Fiji Sports Council pleased with the response for Sports Awards nominations. Stay with us for more.
Gonga elambasa Mbula FM number 2 na series.
Ndo talita kana borong na Mbula FM number 2 na series su.
Kau buat itu gerak-geraki au rebut juga istima au ndo talita kana borong na Mbula.
Bola bina Fiji Mbula FM number 2 Singatoka.
Bola bina era roga Mbula FM number 2 Tikoga.
Bula FM number 2 and series.
Welcome back to sports. CrossFit training was the order of the day for the Fiji Sevens team in New Zealand. The side was taken through a session today that not many are familiar with in the team. Indra Singh is in Wellington and files this report.
The Fiji Sevens team was put through a no-nonsense gym session this morning.
Yeah, they're enjoying it, I think, even if they're sweating a lot. Yeah, we're doing this all around the world where we go, just to expose them to new tech training, the sort of intensity that's required. And the guys here at Wellington at CrossFit are awesome, so it's great that we're able to do that this morning.
So if it's here, it'll be great. But if not, hey, Having travelled for over 20 hours, the players had to endure a training which can be classed second to none.
Right, come back in and start our workout. Okay? Nice little jog down to third lamp post.
That was a privilege and an honour to have an international team such as your Fiji Sevens team to come and join us. We've got our opening weekend this weekend, and it's what a way to start our weekend's event. So yeah, we're really blessed.
Their faces told the story as they pour out the sweat in preparation for a tournament which has evaded Fiji since 2010.
We're feeling very positive and we're glad to get today underway. As you can see, it was really tough, but we needed that to flush out from the weekend.
This is no ordinary gym session as Ryan works on ensuring Fiji is able to take on and bring down the best in the windy city.
Simple really, it's what's specific to Rugby Sevens, it's high intensity, and this is what these guys are doing, all over body as well. You know, Sevens is high speed, chaotic, and they've got to be able to train for it, so perfect really.
Coach Ben Ryan has brought in a fitness trainer to fit the fitness of the team up to par. 1 week is left before the start of the tournament, and he's confident before next Friday this team will be one of the best and fittest ever prepared to take to the cake team. There is no time to take in the sights and sounds in Wellington as yet, because all Ryan wants from this team is commitment and a winning attitude. Indra Singh, FBC Sports.
Meanwhile, Fiji Sevens skipper Osea Kolini-Sau says debutant Viliame Mata will fit into the team just fine. He and the other 10 players will guide Mata as he prepares to wear the white jumper for the first time.
Yes, he'll have a lot on his shoulders, but it'll be very good for him because he has Lepani with him, and I think Lepani will help him a lot. And with Samu Sangiwa, so it's a good time for him to come in and a good opportunity for him to show the whole of Fiji what he's capable of.
Mata is expected to have his first run with the team tomorrow. The Fiji Football Games Committee have given the all clear for the Fiji Sun Skipper Tuna National League games to continue this weekend. Nandi and Ba will feature in their first match of the season following a hectic 3 weeks of the champion versus champion series. With 4 big games lined up, Elena McDonald speaks to soccer guru Raymond Stoddart.
Nandi and Ba may be playing their first league games tomorrow, but their experience is expected to carry more weight.
Ba will be a bit too superior for the Navua side, and then you look at Nandi and Nandronga. Everybody says Nandronga is going to create another upset like they did last season. They won twice against Nandi, but I think Nandi have learned from that, and their experience in the CVC certainly would make them the stronger of the two sides here. Nandi certainly should look good.
Recent resignations and 2 consecutive losses for Navua puts it in an uphill battle.
Not a good side to meet at this stage when you've got your turmoils in the association, and a champion side like Ba meeting Navua. Over the years, Navua has given Ba a tough run for their money. I think they have met the wrong team at the wrong time.
On Sunday, we'll see Suva facing Rewa, while Lautoka meets Lambasa.
These two teams here, they have the 2 top goal scorers in the league at the moment, Samela Drundru and Sefo Verovo, and they both have a youthful side. So that's an interesting clash.
Every team is gunning for a win, and the 3 points to help keep them safe from relegation at the end of the season. Under the new rules, any team that finishes at the bottom of the league table is automatically relegated to the Premier Division. Elena McDonald, FBC Sports.
The Fiji Sports Council is overwhelmed with the response from sporting federations submitting nominations for the Sports Awards. The council received 74 nominations for the various awards by the deadline last week. These have now been passed on to judges to deliberate over in the coming weeks before deciding the winners. The Fiji Sports Awards promises to be bigger and better this year, with confirmation that Fiji Mbati skipper Petero Thibonideva will be a guest speaker.
stage an awards night that the nominees feel where they come in and they feel that they've been deserved, a deserved night of recognition for them, and we try and deliver something, a night where they get to celebrate, and not just the nominees and not just the winners, but all the different parties that have nominated as well, the sporting bodies. And
the Fiji Sports Awards will be held on the 21st of February at the Vodafone Arena in Suva. The Boxing Commission of Fiji is determined to rebuild amateur class boxing in the country. Sizing Up Ideas sees the hosting of bouts in the major urban centres as a way to help them achieve this goal. Tsalendau Dakadaka has the details.
It's hoped recreational boxers regularly sizing each other up around the main centres will revive the amateur code.
Thank the Fiji Sports Commission and likewise the Fiji Sports Council for giving us this venue, the Fiji Sports Commission for putting this ring together, so that the boxers can learn ring craft. At the end of the day, a boxer trains to get into the ring, and if the boxer is not familiar with the environment in the ring, then it's already a defeat.
There are currently 3 rings situated in Suva, Singatoka and Lambasa to encourage more enthusiasts to take up the sport. It's expected that more bouts will lead to a bigger fan base.
Is to have a competition in the north, have a competition in the west, have a competition here, and build up to have a national competition. And likewise, for boxers knowing where the venue of the ring is, they can then come in to try the ring craft and practice ring craft.
This news has been well received in the West.
Have a ring at all the district. Like Nendi itself got a good boxing ring, but like Letoka they don't have a ring. Like other district, most of the district they don't have rings. Since talking to Mr. Major Kafua, he was organizing, and I was there last week with the Sports Council, and they said they will be giving a ring in the western side, and we were very much happy and appreciated from the Sports Council to have that ring in the western side.
It's been a good start to the year for amateur boxers and fans alike, but the best is yet to come, with some exciting programs lined up for later this year. Tsalendau Dakadaka, FBC Sports.
That's it from Sports Tonight. I'll be back again on Monday. Until then, have a safe weekend.
Westpac has been named the world's most sustainable corporation. Fiji General Manager Adrian Hughes says operations here have played a major part in the achievement and the global success of Westpac. It has been ranked #1 in global 100 most sustainable corporations in the world at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland.
Look, we're very, very proud of this award, to be recognised as the world's most sustainable company. What's Fiji done? We've done a lot of things. For us, it's more about giving back to the communities, and you'll see that a lot through the initiatives like the Westpac Walks. Every quarter, you'll see across 11 locations in the country, Westpac and its customers and local communities bonding together to raise awareness around NCDs.
The Red Bank has been in Fiji for 112 years. Last update for the week from the Weather Girl, and what have you got for us, Jen?
Definitely a mixed bag, Jackie. Showers, cloudy weather, and sunny conditions all rolled into one. It was the cloudiness, though, that dominated today, especially in the morning. We enjoyed some sunshine in the capital at lunchtime, and I'm sure most of us were pleasantly surprised considering yesterday's gloomy forecast. Temperatures were all back in the 30s at 4 p.m. today. Lambasa was the warmest and the only one on 32, while Nandi and Lautoka had the lowest on 30 degrees. Brilliant news! We should have perfectly fine weather tomorrow. Take no notice of these clouds over here, because they'll only come out for a little while. And here's a better picture than the one we had yesterday. No flooding, no safety rules being broken, just a beautiful sunset at the beautiful Mana Island. Thanks, Rosie. You have a lovely weekend. And like always, we'll catch up again on Monday.
Thanks so much for that, Genevieve. The top stories before we go. Lands Ministry restructures to enhance services. Pio Tambaiwalu to contest elections on the Sadelpa ticket. And PRB flats likely to be complete by August. To the poll question for this week, we're asking, did the Fiji Sevens players give their 100% at the Las Vegas tournament? Visit the FBC website to answer. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your stories at FBC News or simply hashtag FBC News. And that's news this Friday, January 31st. Be sure to join Amrita Priyadarshini from tomorrow with the weekend news. I'll be back again on Monday. Until then, you have yourselves a safe and enjoyable weekend. Ni moda mamba.
Mirchi FM is #1 in Singapore.
और किसके सुनिए यार, हमारा एक सच्चा साथी है मिर्ची FM लंबासा के।
I love Mirchi FM. It's so hot. देखे में लाल लाल, खाए में हाय हाय. Tangi tauwa में Mirchi FM is hot.
Here at Rugby Town, Singapore, love listening to Mirchi FM. Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Mirchi FM is #1 in Suva. It's hot.
हम वहीं लंबासा में रहता है, तो क्या बताइए हम मिर्ची FM सुनता है।
Mirchi FM, बहुत जुलूम जुलूम.
Mirchi FM, it's hot.